Well, hello, welcome back to Tale 3 Cabins. This is a supplemental video in between the project videos going on right now. If you've been watching for a while, you know that we are replacing the cabin that we have down in Southern Ohio. We live in Northern Ohio full-time, and we have a cabin down in Southern Ohio that we tore down about a couple months ago, and we've been working to put a new structure back up there, something a little bit better and newer. While I've been going down there, we've been off-grid, and I've been doing a lot of projects, documenting a lot of things going on with the contractors down there as we prepare to actually lift a new house onto the foundation. So I spend a lot of time down there. Sometimes I take the RV down, which is if I'm going to be down there for about 4 or 5 days. And a lot of times I want a large power station with me, one to keep at the RV, and then a medium-sized one to keep over by our site where we're building, to top off batteries, charge things, run power tools, etc., Starlink. And then occasionally there are times when I go down there and I'm just doing a day trip, something real quick, getting there in the morning and then turning around and coming back in the evening. So Bluetti reached out to me a couple weeks ago and asked if I would review one of their power stations, and the one that they wanted me to review is one I have already done already. I did it last year. In fact, it's the first one I ever did, was for my pole barn, and I was using it in there for quite a while as my main source of power inside that pole barn. But I did say EB3A kind of intrigues me a bit because it's very small, compact, and has a lot of features. And I do need something for when I do go run down to Southern Ohio, just for a day trip, get there in the morning and then leave in the evening, where I still want to run Starlink, I still want to charge a couple cameras or phone battery, and I still want to be somewhat on the grid, but I don't want to take a lot of stuff down with me. So I asked them if they could send me this instead, and I would like to try it out because that's the perfect situation for it. And they agreed. So they sent me this, and they sent me the PV200 solar panels to go with it. But today I'm going to talk a little bit more about this power station, and then maybe in the future talk a little bit about really expanding the power of this with using solar panels. So this is a Bluetti EB3A. It is one of their cheapest power stations that they make. It's one of the smallest capacities also. It comes in at 268 watt hours. It has an inverter that is capable of delivering 600 watts and maybe do a little bit better with some trickery by increasing the amps and reducing the voltage. But 268 watt hour capacity is not going to get you a whole heck of a lot, and this has its special purpose. It's very compact, it's lightweight, it comes in around 10 pounds, but it still packs a lot of features of some of the larger power stations. But if you're going to try to burn through 600 watts on some sort of appliance, you're probably going to use this up in about 20 to 25 minutes. The small and the compactness is nice, but if you need to use something at a larger wattage and a longer amount of time, then this device is not going to be for you. But if you want something that is inexpensive, this is close to the $200 range right now. And I'll leave some links below if there's any deals going on or coupon codes and stuff of that nature. But if you just need something introductory, if you're just going on a small camping trip, if you're a light camper, you need something lightweight, just a simple thing like maybe a CPAP machine, you still want the capability of using solar panels or other means of charging this, then this could be a good fit for you. So real quickly, let's just go over this device. It's like I said, it's compact. It's about 10 pounds. Basically everything that you're going to work with is going to be on the front of the device. On the side are just a few vents for air circulation and nothing in the back. On the top though is a wireless charge. So if you have an Android phone or an iPhone that has wireless charging capabilities, that comes in handy. That's usually not a deal breaker with me. If it has it, I use it, and it's nice that it's there. If I forgot a cable or something like that. If I don't want this to be too obtrusive, or if I have it on the shelf in the RV or something, a lot of times I would just use this charger instead of pulling out the cable, just set it on top. So that comes in handy, and if it's on there, you might as well use it. Over here, it's going to have a light, and it's a pretty high intensity light. It has a low, a high, and then of course your flashing SOS. On the display, it's very informative. Bluetti really upgraded things when they did this EB3A. A lot of their other displays did not give you this much information, and it was kind of hard to see the battery percentage exactly. It was kind of more like in increments of a quarter, half, 3/4, and so on. But I really like this display on here. Gives you a lot of good information. I hope that they incorporate this in some of Bluetti's next coming models when they start taking care of their bigger brothers and sisters in that power station range. Then you have a 12-volt regulated DC outlet. You have your two 5521 barrel connections. You have two USB-A ports here. a USB-C port, which is capable of 100 watts. Then this is where your inputs would be. You have a reset switch. You have AC charging. Over here is where you would charge for solar or DC through your cigarette port. And then our two AC pure sine wave 600 watt inverter outlets right here. So fairly simple. Everything's on the front. It's in quadrants. So if you're going to use something, there's a separate switch for each little quadrant. So if you're going to use the light, if you're going to turn on your AC outlets, got an LED indicator to let you know that those outlets are on. Now with the AC outlets, they are capable of a 1200 watt surge, 600 watt inverter, but you can extend that 600 watts with certain appliances. So for instance, I have a toaster that will not work on the EB3A, but if I hook the toaster to this, and we're started. So we got the red light on the toaster. If you look at the indicator on the output, we're putting out about 450 watts. I can feel heat being generated. And I think this is going to work just fine for making toast. This, and I let it lower the voltage a little bit, raise the amps. I can make that toaster work. So you could use higher wattage appliances with this. You could probably get away with using a coffee maker that's around 1000 watts. All right, got a little water in there. Simulate making some coffee. I don't have high hopes for this. I think this is going to overload it, but I would be really surprised if it works. Let me get a cup just in case. Okay. Yep, we overloaded it. So this pulls around 1200 watts, usually 1300 watts max when it's making coffee. I didn't have high hopes for it. If you do have a coffee maker that is somewhere around the 1000 watt range or maybe 850, I think that that would probably be doable. You could probably get away with using a hair dryer on the low setting. Okay, I have a hair dryer. I'm just going to try the hair dryer on low. I am not going to attempt to put it on high because I know that that will immediately just overload it. So the hair dryer on low works fine. Decent heat coming out of it. And it just doesn't sound right. So if you want to use the hair dryer, stick to low and you should be fine with this. It's nice to have that feature. You're going to burn through that 268 watt hours pretty quick, but it does have the capability of letting you use some higher wattage devices in such a small compact unit. You can dual charge with this, so you can charge off of solar and AC at the same time, and you can do a maximum of 430 watts when you're charging. The batteries in here are lithium iron phosphate batteries, so they are good for over 2500 cycles, and after 2500 they say that this will be around 80% capacity. And as I said, they packed a lot of features into this guy. It also has an app, so in the accompanying app you are allowed to adjust the charge input. So there is a silent mode, which is going to charge it somewhere around 100 watts, but in the silent mode the fans will not click on and you really won't hear this thing charging. You can charge it at the standard mode, which is somewhere around 200 to 230 watts, and that will charge this back up in about a little over an hour. Or you could charge it on a turbo mode, which is going to charge at a much higher rate for when you need to charge this in a quicker manner. If you turn on Eco, this will shut the device off after a period of time after it doesn't sense any draw off of it. So for instance, if you're using a 12 volt refrigerator and there's no draw in that refrigerator because it's up to temperature and it shuts down the compressor for a little while, this would probably shut itself off, sensing that there's no power coming in after a period of time. So if you need to use it in that example, you would want to shut off the eco mode so this will constantly stay on and power a refrigerator. They have what's called power lifting, and if you turn power lifting on, basically that is going to allow you to power resistive loads of up to 1200 watts maximum. The rated output remains 600 watt, and they'll give you a warning here to not try to run anything with the compressors. So don't try to run a refrigerator, an air conditioner, or any heating device with an inductor or motor. And then if you turn on your AC or DC, you'll see a little graphic showing that you have power going out. If we were to hook this up to solar panels or to start charging it via an AC outlet, you would see on the top, you would see power coming into it. You can do pass-through charging with this, so you can run solar panels and operate other equipment with it. And at this size of device, I would recommend that you do get some sort of accompanying solar panels with this because of the low capacity. This power station has its place for certain needs, but you always want to be mindful of that lower capacity. But if you hook up a decent solar panel to this, at least 100 watts, I myself would shoot for the 200 because you usually never get the full capacity out of a solar panel. But if you have a 200 watt solar panel connected to this and you have a semi-partly cloudy day, I can operate pretty much as usual during the daytime. Okay, just to give you a real world example here, so I'm charging my Still pruner battery, and I'll probably talk about that in a future video. I'm also charging a rigid power tool battery, which is 18 volts. So I have both AC ports used up. I'm using both USB-A and USB-C ports here, and I'm charging a gimbal for my phone, also charging an action cam, and then I am charging my iPad. So altogether right now we're putting out about 221 watts. Now this battery here is probably going to be charged within a matter of 15 to 20 minutes. This will probably be charged in a matter of 35 to 45 minutes, and these will all be charged within an hour. So right now we have 215 watts going out. If I were to disconnect a simple solar panel here, foldable solar panel, which is sitting outside, it's kind of hazy right now. There's been a lot of wildfire smoke. But if I put that in, plug it in, and let it get up to speed. So right now then we're only burning up about 70 watts that we're actually using, and you'll see that it says 2.3 hours left at this rate. But once this battery is charged, once that battery is charged, it'll pretty much drop down to around under 100 watts, and we'll start getting a surplus and recharging the power station. So it's very convenient to have a portable solar panel with something this small of capacity. Okay, half hour later, iPad is still charging, my camera's still charging, my gimbal's still charging, and I've dropped down to 71 watts of output, so I believe my Still trimmer's done, but my rigid battery is still charging, but I have a surplus coming in now. I have 136 watts coming in and 64 going out. So in a matter of just under an hour, this will top off the power station and be back to 100%. All right, so let's hook this up to a few things. Let's hook it up to my tester to see if it is a pure sine wave. If you compare this in size, you can see if I put this next to the Bluetti EB3A that it is a little bit smaller. It doesn't look much smaller, but it is noticeably smaller, noticeably lighter, and it does not need a external AC adapter. It just has an AC plug that goes with it, so you don't have to carry around a big power brick like the EB3A does have a good sized power brick, does have a built-in fan, does make noise all the time when you're charging it. So that is a nice feature, not having to worry about that. So there are a wide range of power stations out there in all sizes, shapes, capacities, and they all have their place when they're being used. For small day trips, small camping trips, just a small little backup if you need to charge batteries during a short power failure. At this price point, you really can't beat it. Just around $200, that $200 mark. I've seen it for $209, and occasionally I've seen it dip below $200. So for that price point, you're very hard pressed to find something that has all these features. It's a reputable name. Bluetti's been around for quite a while. They're usually in the top 3 or 4 when you're talking about power stations. You have EcoFlow, Bluetti, Anchor is the new one in the bunch that is really making an impression, and then you have Jackery. I myself would still stay away from Jackeries just because they're using older battery technology and their cycles don't last as long, 800 cycles, and most of the time their batteries are gone. So try to at least stick with the brands that have the lithium iron phosphate battery. They're safer and longer lasting. So I quickly just wanted to share that with you. That's just my little view and my opinion on this device. When I do these reviews, I look at it to the point of something that I need, that I would buy personally and that I would use. So I don't want to waste anybody's time. So I appreciate Bluetti allowing me to pick what I wanted because I had a particular situation for it. Just day trips going down to Southern Ohio where I didn't need to particularly pack a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm spending the day down there, and I still want to hook up to Starlink. I still want to do a few things, but I did not need a large capacity power station for this purpose. Didn't need to take up a lot of room in the car. Instead of taking my pickup truck, I could take my wife's car and save a little bit on gas mileage for the day. So this worked out good. I appreciate everyone watching. Hope you enjoy and subscribe to these videos. Click on that little bell when you want to know when a new one's coming out. And keep an eye on us. Take care, everybody.